Good morning, children. Did you all read section 1 and 2? Yes? Now in section 2, we come to know that chimpanzees can be taught different sign languages, and they are taken to the prisons, to the medical labs for experiments. Then they are put in the zoos. They are trained to perform in the movies, circus and advertisements, and even on the TV shows. And you remember, even one chimpanzee was taken into space. Now we come to section 3. Now how can we study chimpanzees without harming them? So that is the most important thing. Without harming them, without hurting them, how can we study about the chimpanzees? Section 3. It is because their bodies are so like ours that scientists use chimps to try to find out more about human diseases and how to cure and prevent them. So scientists are experimenting on these chimpanzees. Whatever diseases the human beings have, they want to find a cure for them. They want to find a medicine. They want to try the medicine. Which medicine is effective? So all these experiments they are trying on the bodies of the chimpanzees. Why? Because both humans and chimpanzees are bodies just like the same. It is very unfair that even though chimpanzees are being used to try to help humans, they are almost never given decent places to live. Even though they are helping us, even though the chimpanzees are helping the human beings, we are not giving them a decent place to live also. Hundreds of them are shut up in 5 into 7 inches bare steel barred prisons, all alone, bored and uncomfortable. So often they are put in steel bar cages. They are all alone in that cage. Yes, they feel bored. They are not able to talk to each other. They are not able to move about. They have to sit in that cage always. And they feel it is very uncomfortable. Measure out this space and imagine having to live in it your entire life. Just imagine if we human beings are put in such a prison, not able to come out, not able to move about. We have only to sit there always. We can only walk about in that space. What kind of a life it will be? Will we be able to live there happily? No. So same way for the chimpanzees also, same way for the animals. We have to treat them well. We have to give them a good place to live. Their surroundings must be clean. I shall never forget the first time I looked into the eyes of an adult male chimpanzee, Jojo, in one of these labs. So Jane Goodall met one chimpanzee who was brought up in the lab. For more than 10 years, he had been living in his tiny prison. So Jojo the chimpanzee was living in the prison for 10 years. The sides, floor and ceiling were made of thick steel bars. He lived at the end of a row of 5 cages lined up along a bare wall. So poor thing, the Jojo has been living in the cage. He was put in the cage for 10 years. And there was a row of 5 cages. They could only see each other. There were 5 more cages on the opposite side. At either end of the room was a metal door. There was no window. Poor things, they could not get any ventilation. No fresh air will come into the room because there are no windows. In the picture you can see Jane Goodall and the chimpanzee. There was no window. Jojo could not touch any of his fellow prisoners. Only the ends of his fingers fitted between the bars. So he could only touch the bars of the prison. He could not touch the other chimpanzees, his fellow prisoners. He had been born in an African forest, and for the first couple of years he lived in a world of greens and browns, leaves and vines, butterflies and birds. So what does that mean, children? Jojo was born in an African forest, and for the first few years he was very happy because he lived in the forest. Yes, he lived in a world of greens and browns. There were many trees there. it was forest area, the leaves and vines, they are climbers, and he could see many birds, animals and even butterflies. His mother had always been close to comfort him until the day when she was shot and he was snatched from her. So always his mother was there beside him. But one day what happened? Some people came and shot his mother, and he was taken away from his mother. Snatched means taken away. The young chimpanzee was shipped away from his forest world to the cold, bleak existence of a North American research lab. So he was taken from this forest to an unsheltered life in North American research lab. The research lab is the place where the study for discovering new things goes on, isn't it? So he was put in a prison in the lab there. Jojo was not angry, just grateful that I had stopped by him. It was here, that in this place, that Jane Goodall met Jojo. He groomed my fingers. Groom means to stroke my fingers, where the ridges of my cuticles showed through the surgical gloves I had to wear. So this lady was wearing gloves, and the ridges of my cuticles mean the slightly raised hard skin around the base of the nails. Then he looked into my eyes and with one gentle finger reached to touch the tear that rolled down into my mask. So when Jane Goodall saw what condition this Jojo was living, she was very, very sad, and the tears started falling from her eyes. And what did the chimpanzee do? He wiped away the tear from her eyes. In the United States, several hundred chimpanzees have been declared surplus. They are no longer needed for medical research. That is, after treating them for many years, they just put out these chimpanzees because they are no longer in use. So they decided animal welfare groups are trying to raise the money to build them sanctuaries so that they can end their lives surrounded by grass and trees, sunshine and companionship. So the welfare groups, the people are now forming groups to protect these animals, to give them a good very good living facilities. So they are trying to raise money to build them sanctuaries, keeping people to look after them so that they can end their lives surrounded by grass and trees, sunshine and companionship. Companionship, the friendship of the other people or the other animals. Some lucky ones, including Jojo, have already been freed from their laboratory prisons. Many others are waiting. So Jojo was the one chimpanzee who was freed from this medical prison. So he was taken to some other place. Now worksheet, tick the most appropriate options. Number 1, chimpanzees can do many things that humans do as they, 3 options are given there. A, try to copy human behavior. B, are an intelligent species. C, are taught to behave like humans. So the answer is A, they try to copy human behavior. Second one, chimpanzees make grunting noises to communicate. This is because A, they do not know how to speak. B, their vocal cords are different. C, their species has no way to communicate. So the answer is B, their vocal cords are different. Third one, chimpanzees are used for scientific experiments because A, their bodies are similar to us. B, they are low cost subjects, and C, of their high intelligence. So the answer is their bodies are similar to ours. 4, animal welfare groups are trying to help chimpanzees because A, chimpanzees termed as surplus need protection. B, they need to be freed from research labs. C, chimpanzees need a natural environment. So A is the answer there, children. Number 5, Jojo is lucky because There are people waiting to adopt him. He was taken away from the laboratories. He lives in a place surrounded by trees. The answer is B. He was taken away from the laboratories. Now B, list 5 things that both humans and chimpanzees can do. What are the 5 things that they can do? Yes, both humans and chimpanzees, they can remove the insects on their bodies. We human beings use our hands or feet. They also can do the same way as we do. Then second one, they can both use sticks to fish out insects to catch food. Both of us are able to do, chimpanzee and human beings are able to do it, isn't it? Then third one, they both use napkins to wipe dirt from their bodies. We use towels. What do they use? Yes, the leaves. 4, both humans and chimpanzees use rocks to attack. You know, even now, don't we throw stones? Yes, same way, chimpanzees also use that. 5, humans and chimpanzees can use a hammer to crack nuts. Now see, which is the only ability of humans that chimpanzees do not share. The only thing that we do not have in common is chimpanzees cannot speak human words because their vocal cords are different, isn't it? That is why we say that human beings and chimpanzees are different. Yes. So we stop here, children. We'll continue in the next class. I'll be sending you all these answers. Thank you.